What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another edition of K Cards Baseball. Thanks for joining me tonight or today, whatever the case may be where you're at. Hopefully you all are doing absolutely wonderful out there. Tonight on the channel, we are going to go through this box of cards. I actually picked these cards up about a year and a half ago in a collection that I got where a guy wanted me to sell his cards for him, and I sold most of his baseball cards, a little bit of football, but mostly it was just baseball cards. And after I was done selling his cards, there were some cards left, as well as this box. I have not gone through this box at all, although I do know that most of the cards in here are primarily hockey and football cards, so it might be a little bit different. I know you guys are used to seeing me go through baseball cards, but I don't think that there's any baseball cards in here. So this is going to be primarily, I think, a hockey and football video. I do know that all of these cards are going to be from generally, I think, the late 60s to the early 70s, so it's all vintage cards. And I think there's probably some good cards in here. I don't know exactly what the condition of these cards are, so we're going to kind of find that out together. I ultimately want to try and figure out if I can sell any of these cards and make some decent money on them. So hopefully there's some hidden gems in here that are in pretty decent condition. I really don't know, to be honest with you. I kind of glanced through it a little bit when I first picked these cards up, but like I said, I'm not really a big football or hockey guy. I know a little bit about the vintage stuff in both of those sports, but not enough to be an expert. So I pretty much just set these cards aside. So I'm definitely looking forward to getting into these cards and seeing what we can find. I'm going to go ahead and hook my camera up to the tripod, and we will start going through these cards. Hang on one second, guys. Alrighty, guys, we are back. Let's open up this box and see what we can find. I think most of these cards over here are football, so we'll just pull out a stack and see what these are. I'm not going to know years very well, I'll be honest with you right up front. I know a few years, but not all of the years by any stretch of the imagination. Don't know what years these are at all. It doesn't say anywhere on the back. This one is pretty beat up. Because this is Minnesota, I would expect to see some Vikings in here. Bill Brown was a heck of a running back for the Vikings. I think when I first started following football back in the late 60s, Bill Brown was a really good running back for the Vikings. 185 attempts and 610 yards, whatever year that was. But I don't want to take up too much time on each card. Not exactly sure, again, what year these are. Maybe, I don't know, 69s. Joe Cap, an old Joe Cap card. Not sure what I do know what this is. This is a 1970. Here's some 71s. It looks like all of these have got some tape or something on the top, so definitely not in very good condition at all. Hey, how about that? There's a Joe Green rookie card, actually. It looks like it might be cut on the side. Right there, you can kind of see a little cut mark, so it looks like this card has been trimmed. Yeah, I don't know why it's been trimmed, but definitely look like it's been trimmed here on the right side because it's really uneven right there. So that makes this card not worth that much. It also looks like, again, it had a tape mark here on the bottom. So that's too bad. If this card was in really good condition, it'd be worth a pretty fair amount of money. Larry Brown was a good player of these. These are 72s. I do know that. I'm just selling a bunch of 72s currently. We'll kind of go through these really quick and see if we can find any decent Hall of Famers or decent cards. A lot of these are really here. This looks like it's tape damage. Whoever had these cards must have taped them up. This card is really nice. It doesn't look like it has any damage at all, but look at that one on the top. Pretty beat up. This one looks pretty decent. So I just got to go through here and kind of weed through them. There's another Joe Green card, 72 second year card of Joe Green. And again, it has tape issues on the bottom and tape issues on the top. There's a decent Bob Greasy, a little bit of water damage or something on top there. But that isn't a bad card at all. That might be one worth setting aside. I'm going to set that Joe Green aside and see what else we got in here. Nick Bonacani, another Hall of Famer. That one is pretty decent too. That one's worth saving. Marv Hubbard was a good player for a long time. Now we go into the 73s. I think these are 73s. Yeah, 73s. Roger Staubach. Steve Spurrier, longtime coach of, I think you coached the Florida Gators, coached South Carolina in college. I don't know if he's coaching currently, but that is him. Roger Staubach. Too bad. Joe Namath on the back. These cards would be worth a lot of money if they weren't so badly damaged. I can probably maybe get $1 or $2 out of these cards at best, but they aren't any better than a 1 just because of the tape damage on them. Dick Butkus, another Joe Green. Jack Ham, that card is actually in pretty decent shape, actually. That might be worth saving. I'm going to set all these aside because these are all big-time Hall of Famers in here. This one is really bad. I don't know that I can even sell that card. You guys let me know down in the comment section below. Eugene Upshaw, George Blanda, Terry Bradshaw, 73 Bradshaw. 2 years. This is his 3rd year, actually. Too bad. Big crease. Big crease from top to bottom on that Terry Bradshaw card. Basically, not worth anything, unfortunately. Sad to see, though, such nice cards in such bad condition. Al Cowlings, we all know him as being the Bronco driver in the O.J. Simpson chase. He was the one driving the infamous Bronco. And, yeah. Boy, whew, that is pretty rough, unfortunately. I don't know. You guys let me know down in the comment section if you think I can get anything out of these taped cards. His big tape across the top. John Gilliam was a good player. Larry Hand is in there. Yeah, not much. Not much else worth. Elsie Green was a really good defensive end for the Pirates, for the Steelers during the Steel Curtain years. He was definitely one of the best players at that particular time. He even got tape falling off the cards as I'm stacking them. So that is pretty crazy. I don't know that I can get the tape off and make these cards be somewhat reasonable. They've been on there so long, probably better than 50 years. And I think that it would just ruin the card if I tried to take these all off. It looks like a lot of these cards, just looking at the tops of them. I mean, look at them. They're all been taped. It looks like they must have been taped up onto a wall. These ones aren't taped, but they're badly creased. Bobby Bryant was in there. Yeah, I don't even know if it's worth looking through the rest of these. Hey, there's a decent one. Wow, okay. Well, maybe on these 74s. I think these are 74. Yeah, I'm pretty sure these are 74. There's a nice Bradshaw, though. No tape on it at all. Corners are fairly beat up, but not creased at all. I can probably get a fair amount of money. Not a fair amount, but some money for that. Art Shell. Nice Franco Harris. Is that his rookie card? 74. There's some surface damage on the card. I think. No, this would be his second year card or second or third year card. Second year card, I would think. But that is still a nice Franco Harris card. Going to set that one aside. Ed Marinaro. And went on to be a heck of an actor. Played, was it New York? The police show, Hill City Blues. I think that's what the name was. O.J. Simpson All-Star card. And Harold Carmichael. There's an Archie Manning card. These cards are actually in decent shape because these ones don't have any sort of tape damage on them at all. So that's pretty, should be able to get some money from those few cards. That was Bobby Bell. Hall of Famer Bobby Bell, a great player. one of the best linebackers to play in that era, probably the best linebacker in the era at that time, and did play for my Golden Gophers, actually. Calvin Hill was a good running back for the Cowboys, but a big crease across the front of that card. Not worth going through the rest of those. Nothing else in there. Let's see what the rest of these are. Anything decent that I might have missed? All these are in decent shape. Mike Eyeshide, punter. Ron Johnson's in there. Mick Tingelhoff, Hall of Famer. Mick Tingelhoff, a center. One thing I always point out about Mick Tingelhoff, think of this, guys. Guy was 6'2", 235 pounds as a center. Pretty crazy to have a center at that size. But he also, I think he might hold the record, still holding the record for the most consecutive games played for a center. Close to like 300. I think he was at like 275. Big gum stain across the back of the card, but that is a card definitely worth setting aside. He was the guy that was the main protector of Francis Tarkington during those Vikings years in the 70s, when the Vikings actually had a decent team. Went to the Super Bowl 4 years and didn't win any and haven't been back since. Hopefully some year before I move on from this earth, the Vikings actually end up getting there. Herman Weaver. I'm not going to hold my breath on that one, though. Don't think that that's going to happen, that my Vikings will actually ever get to the Super Bowl. Jan Stenerud. Decent card there. Got a buck or two out of Jan Stenerud. Hall of Fame kicker for the Chiefs. And that looks like it's about it for that stack. Kenny Anderson for the Bengals. Spike Jones was in there. Bobby Joe Green. Okay. And just commons. I can still get, I could put these commons up because these commons actually are in pretty decent shape. Just as long as they're not wrinkled, I can go ahead and sell these commons for probably 40 to 50 cents a piece on the vintage card site on Facebook. So that is what I will probably do for most of these cards. Not sure what year these cards are. 1975 it looks like. I'm not that familiar with the 75 set. This looks like it is what, 74, 75, 76. Nice Bob Greasy card, actually. That's a really nice Bob Greasy card. Hall of Famer, Super Bowl champion for the Miami Dolphins. Another guy, George Blanda, worth setting aside. And Larry Little. Lem Barney was actually a decent player for the Lions. Harvey Martin, I think he is a Hall of Famer. Pretty sure that he is. That might actually be his rookie card right there. Have to check into that one. Golden Richards, wide receiver for the Cowboys. Jake Scott was a really good player for the Dolphins. Roman Gabriel, primarily known for his years with the Chargers, not the Chargers, the Rams, but ended up with the Eagles. Decent quarterback. Not a Hall of Famer, I believe. Earl Mann is in there. Randy Gradishar for the Broncos, a Broncos legend, Randy Gradishar. Lenny Dawson, good one to set aside. He is a Super Bowl champion from 1967, I want to say. Garo Yepremian, kicker for the Dolphins. Archie Manning again. So funny to see these guys without any sort of symbols on their helmet. Leroy Jordan was a good player. And that is that. Not too bad, guys. We actually pulled out some decent cards out of there, even though most of them were damaged from tape and whatnot. So a lot of these will just be garbage, to be honest with you. Even though I personally have a very difficult time throwing in the trash any sort of cards, regardless of condition. It just is. I've never done it. I've never can remember a time when I've actually thrown away any sort of a card. It's just, that's why I've got closets full of cards, unfortunately, because I don't throw any away. Anyways, I think the rest of these are hockey. So I don't know what year these ones are. It looks like 1975 Topps hockey cards. I think these are Topps. Yep, Topps cards. I know a little bit about hockey. I used to collect hockey cards actually quite a bit. Them and Butch Goring was a really good player. Ended up with the Islanders and won a few Stanley Cups with the Islanders for sure. Glenn Sather went on to be the general manager for the Edmonton Oilers, I believe, during the Edmonton Oilers championship years in the early 80s. And what else do we got in here? I do like these cards, actually. These cards are actually in really nice shape. Pat Quinn was a long-time, very successful coach, primarily with the Vancouver Canucks. And Bill Clement, Gilles Meloche. I remember him when he was with the North Stars. He was a really good goalie for the North Stars. I'm going to set him aside because that one will probably just go right into my PC, to be honest with you. And let's see what else we got here. Bruins, Peter McNabb. That name, last name. Bob Nystrom was a good player. Donnie Bouchard. And Bob Barry was in there. That's about it for that stack. I don't know if I actually made a short of me opening up a pack of NHL MVP. And I didn't think I really had very many hockey guys out there. But that video that I made probably 6 or 8 months ago still is in my top 20 viewed videos. It never has left since I made the video like 6 months ago. So that is pretty crazy. That tells me that there is definitely some hockey guys out there. All these cards are badly water damaged. You can see they're all kind of warped a little bit. Yeah, you can see the surface of these cards. These have got some serious water damage. You can see their mold right there actually on the card. So all these cards are garbage. So set those ones aside. Just those little stack. The rest of these ones are pretty decent. Bernie Perrant was a really good player for the Flyers. And what else do we got here? I'm looking for someone like the Halls, Bobby Hall, maybe the Espositos, someone like that. Any sort of Canadian is always pretty big. Bill Goldsworthy was my guy way back when. Reggie Leach, Bobby Clark. That's a good card, actually. Team leader card from the Flyers because they were really good during those years in the 70s. Here's a really nice Washington Capitals card. And moving on. I think that we go into the, that is Brad Park. There's Bobby Hall. Or Bobby Orr, sorry about that. That is Bobby Orr. Probably still to this day, the best defenseman to ever play the game. And if I could find one of his cards in here in a really good shape, that would be a big time hit for sure. Maybe we do have one or two of his cards. Did I see something that said Sabres? Scouts. Never heard of the Scouts. I don't know who the Scouts are. I don't know where they were out of. I don't remember who the Scouts were. Timmy Young. There's a Scouts card. Where the heck were the Scouts out of? No idea where the Scouts were out of at all. Kansas City? It looks like a little KC up there. So maybe it was the Kansas City Scouts. Another card that's badly water damaged. Don't know where they end up going on to from there. There's Phil Esposito. That's a really good card. Actually, it's in really nice shape. So we'll set that one aside. That's a good hit. Like that card a lot. Phil Esposito was Boston Bruins, I think. Is primarily where he made most of his fame. We got a few more stacks to go through here, guys. Hopefully you guys are enjoying this video. Team leaders card. I'll try and get through Jacques Leperrier. I think that's how you pronounce it. Decent card there. Any sort of Canadian. There's Jules Balash right there again. 3 of his cards. Set those one. Wayne Cashman. I really liked him. I think he was a defenseman with the Bruins at the time. Nope, left wing. I remember him quite a bit though. These cards are all, I mean, look at these. Like the warped. Really bad. Set those ones aside. Bad water damage. Those ones might actually end up in the trash. Bill Goldsworthy I'll set aside because that'll go into the Pelt PC for sure. What else do we got in here? Anything else decent? I'm getting my stacks all over here. Phil Esposito All-Star card. That's trash. Bobby Clark. That's too bad. Bob Gainey was a really good player for the Canadians. Actually, those 2 cards are fairly decent. Dennis Potvin's a really good card. Tony Esposito for the Blackhawks, a long-time goalie, Hall of Famer for the Blackhawks. Bernie Perront, Rogie Vachon, and Ken Dryden. Goalie, goals against average, trash. All these cards right here are trash. There's another Phil Esposito. That one's actually in decent shape, even though it is off center right to left. A checklist card without any checks on it. Hey, those are actually pretty rare. If you can find a checklist card that doesn't have any pencil or pen marks on it, keep those because these ones are worth a fair amount of money. Brad Park was a really good player for the Rangers. That is pretty decent. So he did pick up some nice cards in there. Wayne Cashman again. Not going to set that one aside because it's badly off center. Yvonne Cornway. And what else do we got in here? Phil Roberto. There's a bunch of team cards. These ones are all trash. Another checklist with nothing checked. So we'll set those 2 aside because those you can get a pretty fair amount of money on if you can find checklists that don't have any checks on them. No matter what they are, you can find some pretty decent money out of those cards. Bobby Orr, hey, there we go. 2 Bobby Orrs later on in his career, but hey, that is those are some pretty good cards. They're actually in really nice shape, actually. So I'm going to set those 2 aside. That is, I'll probably keep one for my PC for sure. Probably sell the other one. If you guys come see any cards in here that you might want to buy or interested in, Stan Mikita, then just let me know in the comments. I'd be glad to work a deal with you on these cards for sure. Danny Grant. I know all the old North Star players like Danny Grant. He was a good player for us for a long time. Let's see what else we got. I'll go through these kind of quick. I'm excited about those Bobby Orrs. Guy Lafleur. That is an awesome card. Jean-Paul Parise. He was Zach Parise's dad. Louis Nanny, legend here in these parts in Minnesota, still to this day, kicking and doing very well for himself. Serge Savard, a legend of the game is Lou Nanny. Serge Savard is a heck of a player. And that was it for that stack. We'll kind of rifle through these last 2. These ones look like they're pretty beat up. We even got one all janky in there, Bill Barber. And these ones, again, have got tape issues. Stan Mikita. I don't even know what year these are from. Doesn't say it all on the back what year these cards are from, but these ones are too bad. Tony Esposito. These ones are trash, unfortunately, because that would be a really good card, but not worth anything in the condition that they're in. All these have got tape issues, unfortunately. Peter Mahavlich is in there. Dennis Hall. Boy, if I could find Gordie Howe, that would be amazing. John Rattel. Yeah. Those ones are all not any good. I'm not even going to go through the rest of these because they're unfortunately not any good at all. So we won't waste our time with that. Maybe we can get something out of these ones. Phil Esposito right on the top. There we go. 1974-75. Dennis Potvin. Lanny McDonald was a really good defenseman for a long time. Right wing, sorry. Don Cherry. If you guys know anything about hockey, Don Cherry is a legend in Canada for being a heck of a broadcaster. Kenny Dryden. Hey, there we go. We're picking up some nice cards in this little stack. There's another Bobby Clark. 3 Bobby Clarks on that panel card. Another Bobby Orr from the 73-74 All-Star game. There's the actual Bobby Orr. Ooh, too bad. Got a big crease on it. Yeah, that stinks. That's too bad. Probably get a few bucks out of it, maybe. There's a Phil Esposito Bobby Clark card. And it's too bad on that Bobby Orr. Cesar Maniago. And that is about it for that stack. Alrighty, a couple more stacks left to go through. Having fun going through these. Butch Goring. Is that like his rookie card? No, probably not. He was a really good player again with those Islander teams in the early 80s. For sure. Reggie Leach. You hockey guys out there, if I miss anything as I'm going through these, let me know, because I'd be very curious to hear. Like I said, I know a little bit about hockey. All these cards are all got water damage. There's Atlanta Flames. Atlanta has had 2 hockey teams in their existence. There's Dennis Hall, brother of Bobby Hall. I think he was a brother of Bobby Hall. And that is it for that stack. Alrighty, last little bit here, guys. Oh, I remember these cards. These are like 1970s. I remember these cards, 1970, I believe, because this is the year I first started collecting. I remember these cards specifically from when I was a young kid. This was one of my favorite cards when I was younger, this Phil Esposito, but this one is just massively creased up, unfortunately. I'm going to set aside 2. Bobby Hall. That's pretty awesome card again. Major first surface damage on that. Not worth much. Probably in poor condition. But still worth setting aside. Probably keep it for sure. Don't know if I'll Peter Mahavlich. Stud player, winger for the Canadians for many years. Billy Goldsworthy, my guy. I actually got that card already in my PC, so I don't need this one that's all creased up at all. Ron Harris. Long story short, my mom actually knows Ron Harris and dated him when she was a younger lady. She knew him pretty well because my mom was actually a national champion figure skater in Canada when I was younger. I remember going to the rink many times with my mom when she was doing her figure skating. She ended up coaching figure skating when she moved down here. Actually, she was a big-time coach up in Canada, too, before I was around. And what else? You probably don't care much about that story, but this brings back memories looking through these cards and seeing some of these names because my mom knew some of them. And that is that stack. These ones have all got tape damage on top, so not worth a whole heck of a lot at all. Wayne Cashman. And I'm not going to go through all these cards because these cards are pretty beat up. Well, there's a couple decent ones here towards the bottom, but yeah, those ones are pretty beat up. I think these ones are pretty beat up. Yeah, look at that. Ooh, badly creased. Going through here, there's Stanley Makita. Jacques Plante, one of the legendary goalies, still probably a top 10 goalie to ever play the game for the Maple Leafs, a legend up there in Canada for Toronto. And Peter Mahavlich, again, tape issues. Yeah. Anyways, so that is about it, guys. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this little trip down memory lane, looking at different cards than what we normally would look at, looking at a little bit of hockey. We actually did find some pretty nice little hits in here. Again, not going to go through all of these cards, but came up with some decent ones that I think we might be able to pick up a buck or two, or I might just keep them for my PC. That will probably be the most likely option because I do like a lot of these cards for sure. I'll probably sell the O.J. Simpson, sell the Terry Bradshaw. But anyways, guys, really hope you guys enjoyed this video and this little trip down memory lane, looking through some hockey and football cards for a little change of pace. We don't have a lot of baseball sets coming out right now. It is just all about Series 1. So I thought this would be kind of a fun little video for us to go through these cards. Anyways, guys, that's all I got for you guys tonight. Thanks for checking out this video. Be safe out there, guys, and happy collecting. We'll talk to you guys later.